We have time for questions. The Secretary, yes, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Asian Martin. I go to Stuart Hobson Middle School. Yeah. And my question is, how did the Asian community benefit from you becoming the first Asian American mayor of a major U.S. city?
The benefit really came in the sense that you can aspire to certain goals. The Asian Pacific Islander community in San Jose at that time was probably about 4%. And it gave them both a symbolic as well as a real substantive reason for my being there in politics. We had a person who was born in Japan, raised in the United States, very, very successful farmer, celery grower. And in 1946, as people were coming out of the camp and returning back to San Jose, people didn't have a pot to carry water in. And he'd go around asking for 50 cents, $1 from everybody, and then buy 2 tickets to the Lincoln Republican Day dinner or 2 tickets to the Jackson Day Democratic dinner. Because he said the reason we got evacuated and interned was because we had no access to our political leaders of the day. And he said, we've got to raise the visibility of Japanese Americans. And so by 1960, I became one of the beneficiaries of those tickets, But I think in terms of what did it mean to the community, it wasn't only to the Japanese American community, but the broader minority community and to women, that women and minorities can aspire to political office. And I think from that perspective, it was a big shot in the arm from a symbolic perspective.
My name is Jasmine Wren, and I'm from Stuart Hobson Middle School. Did your experience in San Jose as a child play a role in making the decision of what to do when faced with the terrorist attacks and the aftermath of the terrorist attacks?
Well, Jasmine, it wasn't so much my experience as mayor as I think it was the experience of being of Japanese ancestry and having gone through evacuation and internment that probably was more of a deciding factor in what I felt had to be done on September 11th, and especially as we were setting up the security, aviation security measures. I think that part of it became very apparent to me as to what we should be doing because of my own background and experience.
Hi, I'm Vincent Yu from the North School. I'm a sophomore. I want to know, how did it feel to transfer from mayor to House of Representatives and then Secretary of Commerce to Secretary of Transportation? How did that feel? Were there obstacles in the way and such like that, feelings?
You know, when you're mayor, you're really an executive of the city. When you're in Congress, you're a legislator. And those are two big, they're different. It's like being the President of the United States and being a member of the House or Senate. They're, as we have, 3 equal branches of government: executive, Congress, legislative, and the judicial. And so they are very, very different. Now, when I went from Secretary of Commerce to Secretary of Transportation, the big thing is that I'm a Democrat, and so I went from President Clinton to President Bush. But I would say the biggest difference there is that being a Democrat in a Republican administration was a big difference. After I got in, I found that it doesn't mean anything, because being a Californian in a sea of Texans was more of a problem for me than having a D after my name and not being a Republican. But for me, it was just a great experience of being in President Bush's cabinet and being Secretary of Transportation for 5.5 years. Well, let me congratulate all of you for being selected as part of this program. And one thing, you know, there are a lot of countries that call themselves democracies. But the thing that makes our country so distinctive from any other democracy in the world is that it requires citizen participation. And so, recognizing you're in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grades, but you're going to go on to your professional and career goals, and you're going to do real well in those things. In the United States, you have to have a well-educated citizen. It could be from anywhere from a well-read person to someone who decides to run for public office. But not everyone is really going to be willing to run for public office. So no matter what your career goals are, whatever you want to be, pursue those goals and do them well, work hard at it, but always reserve some time to give back to the community. And you can do that in a number of ways. You can do that through church activities, through non-governmental, non-profit organizations. But whatever you do, leave a little time as you pursue your own career goals to devote to community activities so that you're doing something for something more than self, something that may help or improve the lives of others. Every mayor, every county commission, every governor, even the President of the United States, are always looking for people to put on boards and commissions. So there's nothing that prevents you from being the best in your profession and yet saying, I'm going to volunteer some time to a board or a commission for local government, state government, federal government. But in order to help others, I want you to always remember, take some time and volunteer. I bet some of you do that at school. You volunteer for activities. Some of you may be on a student council, whatever it might be. Well, continue that effort as you get into your job and into your professions. So again, congratulations and thanks for being here and best wishes for the future. Thanks a million.